Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us. My name is Matt Humphreys. I am the EMEA Sales Director here at Intellian. Joining me today is Will Kraus from Iridium and Billy Taylor, who founded the Monkey Fist Adventures team, who recently rode totally unassisted across the Atlantic. And during the adventure, you may have seen regular updates on the social media channels live from the middle of the Atlantic, which was powered predominantly by the Intellian C700 and on the Iridium Certus network. So Billy and Will, thank you for joining us today. And Billy, thank you for allowing us to be part of this adventure, although it took a lot less physical effort from our end than it did yours. So yeah, thanks. And today the discussions, we're going to be holding a Q&A session at the end. So within the GoToWebinar app, on the bottom of the webinar app, if you do have any questions, please type them as you think of them. Please do not wait until the end because we need some time to go through them, or my team and I will go through them during the webinar. So please write them as you think of them, and then we'll answer them in the Q&A section at the end. They'll be totally anonymous, so we won't be shouting at any names, so please ask whatever you want. So firstly, just to get straight into it, I'd like to just say that the C700 is one of our newest antennas that we've developed, and the first terminal that we've produced for the Iridium network. And since it's launched, we've had an amazing feedback from our customers, and as far as I know to date, we have not seen one failure or technical issue. So fingers crossed, this will continue to be successful. As you may or may not know, the Iridium satellite network is, in general, is a global, robust, and very resilient network used for primary communications, as well as backup and for safety, also for redundancy. So on this topic, Will, maybe you can give us a bit more about Iridium and why you believe the Certus network is a great option for this transatlantic crossing.
Sure, thanks, Matt. And good morning, good afternoon, and evening as well to some of you. I'm Will Kraus with Iridium Satellite. I'm on the Maritime team based out of the Washington, D.C. area. And as Matt said, the network, the Iridium network, I think most of you probably are familiar with it. 66 globally interconnected satellites in low Earth orbit, so providing a pervasive, continuous signal to every spot on the planet, which makes it perfect for a transatlantic crossing, even, and I should say especially, in a small craft that's on rough seas, since you simply don't have any loss of signal. And we were proud and honored to be selected by the Monkey Fist team for the Atlantic Dash crossing, as well as to be working with Intellian. We've been very excited and very open about our excitement about the Intellian C700. As Matt said, we've got a lot of them on the network now, on Iridium Certus network, performing continuous service with no issues at all. And this is no exception. So this was actually a fantastic opportunity to see this Certus network and the C700, the Intellian C700 in action on the vessel. We're going to talk about it. Even I, working at Iridium and watching some of the footage, was really, really impressed, and it was amazing to see, especially you know, when I see the ability for them to communicate from anywhere they were on the water, any type of seas, and all sorts of different things, including on social media with phone calls and even video calls, which we'll see. And so, Matt, I'm looking forward to hearing more from you and Billy about this adventure. Thank you.
Great, yeah. So let's bring Billy into the mix. So Billy, tell us a little bit about Monkey Fist Adventures and the Atlantic Dash. Why did you organize it, and what are your aims?
Yeah, thanks a lot for having me on, Matt. Really appreciate it. And hello, everyone. So Monkey Fist Adventures was set up. I've been very fortunate throughout my life to be able to go traveling and see lots of different parts of the world. I'm going to come back and talk to people about this. One of the things that you hear the most is, I wish that I could do that. And I'm no different to anybody else out there. So I've got a job, a family, I live on the South Coast, I get stuck in the same traffic jams as everyone else. So we tried to create a resource where people could communicate with other fellow travelers and adventurers to, first of all, inspire people. So once you talk to people in the open adventure community, you realize that everyone's the same. There's nothing particularly different to everyone else. So it's to encourage people to get out, but also to give them resource of being able to find out information for people that can help them get their projects off the ground. And at the moment, especially off the back of COVID, we're seeing a massive increase in mental health issues. So getting out there and being involved in nature, getting away and disconnecting from society is a really good way to reset that button. So that's basically the reason we set up Monkey Fist Adventures. The Atlantic Dash, we were very lucky to have a guy called Matt Pritchard on board. And the motivation behind the Atlantic Dash was really to raise awareness of mental health. So 3 of the crew members on board have gone through their own mental health journeys. So the sort of media attention that we were gathering as we went across and the social media content we were able to send back in interviews and so on, we were able to hopefully try and destigmatize mental health, encourage people to open up and talk about their own problems, and also raise money for a mental health charity.
Great. Yeah, I mean, we've seen the footage we saw coming back was amazing, and I think you captured it really well. So what would you say, you know, I mean, a lot of the images that we saw, I think, were very, you know, plain sailing and very, you know, sunny days and calm seas. Well, I'm sure it wasn't all, you know, unicorns and rainbows, but what would you say was the biggest challenge, you know, physically?
So shift bands are 2 hours on, 2 hours off. So you basically never get more than 90 minutes sleep at a time. So you rode for hours and then you rest, and then you rode and you rest. And in that 2 hour period, you have to prepare your food and eat it, get out your wet weather gear, doing your navigational stuff, medical attention. So the lack of sleep is a real big one. You also tend to lose a lot of weight. So I mean, it's great. Before the actual row itself, you get the opportunity to stuff your face and try and pile those pounds on. But we were consuming around about 6,000 calories, and even when we consumed that amount, I still ended up losing about 14 kilos, I guess, in 51 days. So it's quite a big dramatic weight loss. And then, I mean, it varies from crew member to crew member. I really enjoy being out on the water. I enjoy the simplicity of the life that it provides you. So you just have to eat, sleep, row, repeat, basically. And that gives you a lot of time to reflect on what's going on in your life. And, you know, there's no hassles with emails unless you want to pick them up, like social media. Obviously, we're sending content back, but you're not plugged into everything. I think life is really noisy. When you get back to land, you sort of really appreciate the simplicity out there. But I think for some people, I mean, the boat is only about 29 foot long, so you're never more than 1 meter away from anyone at any one time. So the lack of privacy when you're out there, and I mean, it's a pressure cooker environment, so it can get a little bit tense on the boat at times, especially when you're hungry and tired. So I reckon those are probably the things that sort of gave me the most problems. But even that wasn't really a problem. I mean, you can see on the footage now, you're very well compensated for the tough times by amazing sunsets and sunrises, bioluminescent, so there's plankton at night. So when you go through a big plume of that, it glows like an emerald green color. That's an incredible thing to go and see. It's almost like being in a Tolkien novel, because everything seems like it's a scream emerald fire. You get to see flying fish, sharks, turtles, marlins, and although I've just spoken about the possible friction between crew members, you also, you know, you complete this epic journey and you work together as a team, and when you step off at the other side, there's a real sense of accomplishment. And I don't think that, I mean, I've done 4 ocean crossings now, and I don't think that ever goes away.
Oh, yeah, it sounds amazing. So talking a little bit about on the techie side, so there was an Intellian C700 Iridium Certus terminal on board, which I hope helped your sanity over the course of the journey. Can you explain the reasons why you needed comms or specifically satcoms on board?
Yeah, so the reason that we went for this system to start with is because the whole reason behind the row was to raise awareness of mental health. So there's a big build up to the start of the project. And there's a lot of social media stuff going on there when you're talking about what you can do, the preparation, the training, and then you leave, and then you've got 50 days out on the water. And if you don't have a way of getting contact back to people, it's very, very difficult to put into words what you're going through out there. So because we're trying to destigmatize mental health, and because we're trying to raise money for a charity, it's really important to have that social media engagement. So by being able to send back almost in real time what's going on a day-to-day basis, you found that people really got involved with the project, and it's almost like a big brother scenario, I guess. So you saw all the trials and tribulations, the high points, the low points, and we were always very, cautious to make sure it wasn't all unicorns and rainbows, so people get to see the bad stuff as well. The boils you get on your backside from running 12 hours a day, the calluses that you get on your hands from being worn away. But it wasn't just for that. I mean, we have a weather router to going across. So obviously, same as a yacht, we are almost controlled really by the weather. So we try and get ourselves in the best position to make good of whatever weather patterns or weather systems are out there. So our weather router, we get in touch every day, so we can receive emails, which is another really good thing. We use an app called Telegram. So the C700 system allowed us, it's the same as using WhatsApp. I'm sure other people are really with Telegram as well, but because we had this ability to contact people back home, like I say again, in real time, it meant that you're not, again, it depends on the person on board, but if you're feeling bad or if you're feeling low and it's something that you can't share with the rest of the crew and you just want to have connection with your loved ones back home, you can do that in real time. And for some people, that's incredibly important. One of the crew members, he really suffered for the first month. He thought it was going to be more of a physical challenge than a mental one. And it really took a toll on him for the first month. He improved a lot after that, but that connection back home with his family was something that was very, very important to him.
And Billy, can I just ask you, you mentioned Telegram as well as others, so you were using multiple apps then as well, WhatsApp, for example, also?
Mm-hmm. So we found, because you are paying for a data package, data is a very important thing. It's the same as if you're paying for a data package on your phone. So you get a certain amount allocated to you every month. And if you go over that, then you get charged more. So it's very important to us that we manage our data that's going back. So we have something on board called a red box, which is a guy called Ed Wildgoose from Mail Sail. It creates a Wi-Fi network on the boat. I mean, you can do that through the BD unit from the C700 as well. But this particular red box in particular, what it does, it's programmed to accept certain apps. So you can only use whatever's programmed into the box as you go. So you decide before you leave. But what that means is it just prevents, every time you turn on your phone or a laptop, then stuff wants to automatically update, and that can take a lot of data. So by having that on board, it's almost like a firewall to stop data coming out the other way. So it's just a one-way traffic. And Telegram itself means that we can, I mean, it's incredible. It's absolutely incredible. It's even after a month or so, we still really couldn't get used to it. We can take a video on our phone and then go onto Telegram. It's got a compression system built into the app itself. So again, saving data, and we can send that back. So that meant, 3 or 4 times a day, we were sending back videos of this content of what we're getting up to while we're out there. So Telegram, but each app is different. So some have better video connections than others for the live stream. So WhatsApp we use for that. But again, because we were using the red box, this is something we had to decide upon before we left.
Great. So when you're actually using it, all the day-to-day kind of operations of the boat is quite reliant on that system. Then once you've started it, I guess, right?
Oh, massively, yeah. It's I mean, it's kind of your lifeline back there, because it's not just the data stuff. It's the line, this voice line as well. So you can make phone calls, and it was crystal clear for that. And again, that's really, really important when you're talking to family. But everything that we get, I mean, if that had gone down, which it didn't, it was very, very reliable, then all of a sudden it's how do you receive your weather information? How do you engage with the public back home? How do you talk to loved ones? It's, that is your sole connection with the outside. Well, we have sat phones with us, so you can, that's our fallback way of communicating back home. But that's it, that's just a voice line. I think we have access all the time back on land, and you almost take it for granted. And to lose that, and I've done projects in ocean roads where we've just had a sat phone. It just, you don't realize how reliant you are upon it until it's not there.
Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah. So in terms of, you know, ease of use and kind of reliability, was there much needed in terms of setting it up every day? You know, was there any repointing or anything like that that you had to do?
Just turn it on and away you go. It's it never dropped out. There was always service, and I mean, it was, like I say, it's just literally flicking the switch. It's connected to the mains power, runs off 12 volts. It's a really quiet unit. We've used other stuff before where the antenna makes a real loud noise, and when you've got a very small cabin, that can be terribly frustrating, especially if you're trying to sleep because you're 2 hours on. But we didn't have to realign it. We didn't have to do anything with it at all. It's literally just a case of flicking it on, waiting for it to boot up, then away you go. It was incredibly reliable.
Great, a good point. Also, I think. Sorry, I was just going to mention that there's no moving parts inside that system, so that'll probably be the reason why there's no noise or anything, you know, any motors or mechanical movement in it. So yeah, sorry, you were saying.
Yeah, also you can get, I mean, it's quite a harsh environment out in the water, and we are exceptionally close to it, and because we don't have a lot of displacement on the boat, that means whatever the surface of the water is doing is what we're doing. So you're pitching and rolling an awful lot, and that was something that really surprised me actually, because you'd sort of expect to lose connection every now and again for it to drop out, but that didn't actually happen. And the other thing is, because you're so close to the water, most people, the antenna dome is way above the waterline, so it doesn't very often get wet, whereas we very close to the waterline, so it did get very wet on occasion, and there was no issues with it at all. And again, the below decks unit, sort of the brain of it all, you kind of expect that to be on a boat in a very nice, dry, warm environment, and you know, with nothing externally trying to get in. It's not like that in the cabin of an ocean marine boat. You get lots of humidity and condensation, you get waves coming in, and it sort of took all that in its stride.
You know, one of the interesting things I just wanted to mention, because you mentioned, Billy, the fact that the pitch and the roll, and that you were surprised that it continued with the connection. One of the really neat things about Iridium, obviously, we have multiple satellites in view at any given moment, and the C700 is constantly scanning the sky, looking for the strongest signal, switching among them. I believe it scans every 5 times a second to always make sure it has a consistent and pervasive signal. And Matt, if I'm not wrong, you guys have a great negative look angle, so you can handle pretty much any sort of pitch and roll on a small craft like this, or on a fishing vessel, workboat, anything like that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so we've taken it I think it's another 15 degrees actually further negative than most other terminals out there. So on a boat like this, especially in some of the conditions you saw earlier, it's much more reliable and stable when it's tracking to keep that signal up and running. Yeah, for sure. Billy, just quickly, I think we've got a video that we can show which shows some, you know, an example of the connection. But your audio is a little bit muffled. Because maybe we can switch your fan. Is there a fan on or something?
Yeah.
Just quickly while we play the video.
Yeah.
Sadie, we got the video. Sorry, Sadie is our director.
Yes, we are looking forward to that as well. Yeah, I mean, we're still crashing on at good speed, and apparently when we got about 80 miles out, there's a nice little current we can pick up of a knot, so that would give us actually an extra 25 miles in a day, which is lovely. We like to hear that. But we just wanted to give you a quick call to tell you how much we love you and how much we are looking forward to getting back and enjoying your coverage of what we're doing, and yeah, just basically to check to see what the video connection is like, and that's not bad, is it? I don't know if you can see the video. Look, you're on TV, Baz. You're on TV. Woohoo!
Yeah, good. That's great. That's brilliant. That's great stuff.
Cool, man. I can't believe that we can get this from the middle of the ocean. That's absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, so that's a really good example, really, of of how it worked. Where actually were you when that was happening?
I
You know what? I can't remember off the top of my head, but it wasn't the only call we did. And like you say, you get the same service wherever you are. It doesn't matter where you are in the world. So it always came across like that. And I'd like to point out that we've been at sea for quite some time then, so I was very excited to see Barry, and he is our social media guy.
Yeah, we can see that.
It was a fantastic video. I mean, to see the live video chat, and I realized you can get the signal like that everywhere. I don't think you get the blue sky in the UK like that all the time, but that was a great video.
No.
Yeah, and it just, and again, you just get so used to the fact that back on land, there's not very many places where you can't connect, but out in the water, obviously, it's a completely different story. And we never really expected that quality to come back so well, but that means that we try and do stuff with kids in schools. So we didn't manage to do it this time around, but with other projects, we use a platform called Learn Live. So we video stream directly into the classroom and talk to kids there. And it also means it's not just social media content. There's a lot of media that want to find out what's going on. And for us being able to do that, I mean, I don't know if there's any other ocean that's ever been able to do that. I don't believe so. So it sort of puts you head and shoulders above everyone else that's out there. So for the project itself, it was extremely useful.
Amazing. Yeah, I mean, I'm just thinking about, we're talking about the reliability and how this is working in the middle of the Atlantic, and we can't get a signal, down the road from our houses sometimes. Maybe Will, you can just explain a little bit about why that is so resilient and how it works so well in such, a remote location.
Sure. I mean, three of the main aspects actually of the Iridium network. One is the fact that the satellites are in low Earth orbit, so they're simply closer. They're closer to the ocean, closer to the vessel, and the signal is therefore much more resilient, more robust. The second is that it operates in L band, and I realize that satellite bands are sort of a geeky subsection of the world, but what it really means is you have a reliable, robust, constant signal, since it's a very powerful and strong signal in L band. And then the third is the fact that the satellites themselves are interconnected. The switching happens between them. So signal goes up to a satellite and it has multiple paths to travel around the world for its downlink. So all of this working together seamlessly in the background means, the bottom line is wherever you are, there's not a single satellite you're looking at. There's not a certain angle that has to be met at any given moment. It literally is just switching among whatever is available and whatever's strongest. So multiple signals are available, and the brains and the brilliance of the inner workings and what the Intellian team has done with the Certus C700 is actually to be able to connect through and do the interconnections and ensure that that's constantly going on in the background. So you never really experience it, and you just get a crystal clear call like you just did there on your app.
Amazing. Yeah, good. Sorry, but I've just seen a message that a couple of people couldn't see the video, so I don't know how many people that affected, but if that didn't show to everybody, that was a live call that Billy did with I think he's your marketing manager, Billy.
Yeah, Barry Hayes is our social media guy.
Social media, yeah. So he was a live call via video phone. Maybe we can, post it somewhere temporarily just so you can see it. But it's a really good case study on how the system worked in the middle of the Atlantic. And it was a crystal clear video call with great audio. Yeah, it's a shame that didn't show, but yeah. Okay, cool. All right. So I think that's great. I think we'll move into the Q&A section. So I've found a couple. And if you do have any more questions, then please keep them coming in. So one which I may think may be quite relevant is what's the difference between using the C700 and I can't actually mention the name of the brand that they've used, but a similar competitive or a competitor's product or a land-based system on a boat like this? Maybe Billy, if you've got some experience in some of the other antennas you've used in the past.
Yep. So there's been a progression with time, obviously. I mean, when I first started doing this, the only way you could do anything was connecting up your sat phone and you'd send back a very grainy picture, but it's come on in leaps and bounds since then. But for me, the difference on this,
it's just the ease of use. You know, there's always going to be a connection. I know the antenna that you're talking about, and a lot of that is hand. I mean, if it's, I believe I know what it's talking about. So it's a handheld device almost. So you take it outside and you have to try and get in alignment with what's going out there. There's always needs a permanent power source going to it, which means you've got cables coming out from the cabin. So the cabin, the hatch has to be open. And I believe if you lose connection halfway through, if you're sending back some, like content, and you lose connection 80% through it, then you have to restart that, which means you're using an awful lot of data. So I don't think it has Wi-Fi capability either. So realistically, what you're doing there is it's proper Bear Grylls. I'm going to hold this up and it's going to be fantastic. And it's a really drawn out process. And as I mentioned before, you've only got 2 hours off to rest. You don't want to be eating into that time by trying to do all this stuff. And it could take a long time to send through. Whereas the C700 always turned on. There was never an issue with it. Always had connectivity. And you could literally just connect to it, press a button and send it back. The quality of the footage, the upload speed was a lot quicker as well. So yeah, like I say, you can't really compare the two because it's just so far ahead of the antenna that you were just talking about.
Cool. Yeah. All right. Cool. Yeah, I think Billy mentioned it briefly, but the terminal has a Wi-Fi antenna built into it, so you can connect directly to the terminal. I think Billy used another device as well to use some compression, data compression as well. But in the simplest form, it's pretty much plug and play. You can plug it in, connect your phone, tablet, or whatever to it, and it's pretty seamless. Just going to go through. Let's see. Yeah, we've got a couple. So somebody, if somebody's interested. So if I was to get involved in a similar adventure to the Atlantic Dash, how would I go about attaining satcoms for the boat? So I think I can answer that one. Both Intellian and Iridium have quite a wide network of service partners that can provide the antenna and the service as a bundle. So if you do need any contacts or you want to get in touch with somebody for services or for hardware, then we'll leave our email addresses at the end of this and you can contact us directly. There's also a lot of information on both our websites as well, so you can definitely just reach over to us. I think we've got a couple of questions about maintenance, but I think that was pretty much covered. So we've got, how was the unit powered on the boat? So I think that was interesting. That was one that I was kind of wondering when we first set this up. I mean, there was no wall to plug this into, right? So there was no main socket. So how did you power this?
Because all our power, well, the large part of it comes from solar power. So we have solar panels on the fore and aft cabin. It's generally pretty sunny out on the Atlantic. So we get a charge that goes through to 200 amp lithium batteries. If we get a few overcast days, or if we have a very high power usage for whatever reason, and we've also got a hydrogen fuel cell, which is for all intents and purposes a generator which tops that up. But the unit itself, I mean, you say you can't just plug it into all, it's just wired into the fuse panel that's on the box, the breaker switches, and you just turn it on. And that's it. It takes normally about 30 seconds for everything to boot up. It's got a very simple traffic light system on the boat. So when you get your connectivity, it turns green, and that's it. So I don't know much about electrics. We have a marine electrician that wired it all in there, but he had not done one of those units before, and he did not have any problems at all wiring it in. So I'm assuming it's fairly simple. But for us, like I say, you just flick a switch and it's on.
Yeah, great. Yeah, I mean, we didn't mention it before. Well, we mentioned it has Wi-Fi, but there's also a voice line and also a digital and an analog voice line that you can connect to it as well. So you can just use it as a normal phone, if you needed to, and you can connect multiple phone lines to it as well on a network, or network PCs as well if you have the space. Probably not for you guys. I don't think there was any office setup on board there. So another one was budget. I mean, you mentioned about budget. So one of the questions is, did you have to worry about data costs and running within budget? So maybe, you know, how did you manage that? I know this was for charity, and I think you probably had quite a limited budget. So how did you manage that?
Yeah, so you pay for a data package. So you decide on what data package you want that to be, whether it's 1 gig or 5 gig. I mean, you can get lower than that as well. I think it goes up to 10, possibly more. And that means you have that allowance every month. Again, very similar to what you'd have on your mobile phone back home. We'd done a row across the Indian Ocean in 2018. We'd also done a crossing in 2020 as well. So we had a pretty good idea of how much data we'd be sending back. So we went for the 5 gig package. I mean, you know, it's the same as everything. The more you want, the more you're going to have to pay, but you have to try and balance it out, really, sort of like a price benefit analysis, I guess, where the whole reason you're doing the project is the mental health side of things. So it's really, really important to get that engagement and spread the message. And also, it's very difficult to raise money for charities if people aren't engaging with the project as a whole. So for us, it was a case of, okay, this is, you know, the spend that we're going to have, but this is what we expect from results from that. So we were never concerned about going over, and you can set up warnings anyway. So we went through MailSL, and I don't know if it's something specific to them, but when you hit a certain amount of usage, then it'll let you know, and so you know in incremental steps how much you're using. But I think you'd be fairly hard pushed to go over 5 gig unless you're live streaming the whole time. I mean, we were sending back quite a few videos every day, and it does take a little while to upload. So yeah, and also you know, there's only so many sunsets and sunrises and dolphins that people are really interested in seeing. So yeah, we were never worried about or concerned about going over. But it's different for everyone. It's, you know, we didn't have a massive budget at all, but we thought that this was definitely something that was worth spending the money on.
Yeah, I definitely reckon you're going to get some better selfies than most people you see on social media every day. So that was pretty cool. And on that note, I've got one of the questions actually is, did any of the sea life concern you or make you nervous? Saw some pretty big whales out there.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, this time it was disappointingly barren of marine life. So we had, for the first 5 days, there was dolphins everywhere, and literally every night you'd have a pod coming along, so you'd see them all the time. And I'd told everyone it's going to be amazing, you're going to see whales and there's bird life all the way over and flying fish and dorados, and there's nothing for about 4 weeks. So I personally never been, I think if the whale footage came up earlier on, I mean, those whales, there was a couple of them, and they were only like 5 meters away from the boat, I guess. But wow, the boat is incredibly resilient. I'd be more worried about being run over by another boat than I would be about any of the marine life. Although I would say flying fish weigh just under 1 kilo. They fly about 70 kilometers an hour, and they don't look where they're going. So you do get hit by a lot of them. And I have seen someone not clean off their seat and almost knocked out by one. So I guess those guys would be, yeah.
Wow, yeah, I didn't think of that. Did you see many other marine traffic up there? Any other boats when you were on your crossing? Nothing.
No, again, because we're so close to the water, you don't really see further than 3-4 miles because you're so low down. So it's very difficult to see them, and your back's always in the direction that you're going. So when you're rowing along, you've got a good view from behind you, but if anything crosses in front of you, you generally don't see it. We have some really good kit on board that alerts us to the presence of other boats, but again, 4 or 5 weeks we saw absolutely, it's a big ass piece of water, and there's it's easy to get lost out there.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah, at Iridium, we're really interested in space. I guess you could see a lot of stars at night, huh?
Yeah, I mean, there's absolutely no light pollution whatsoever, and I think one of the joys of being out there is the sky at night. And it's amazing how many shooting stars there actually are that we either don't see in the UK because of cloud or because you're just not looking up. And it's even so, we have nav lights on board, so when you're running at night you have to have nav lights. You have to have them on, so that actually does give you some light pollution, but you're looking up and, oh, this is amazing. And then you turn the light out, and I've never seen skies like it anywhere else at all. And because there's nothing blocking it, you've got a 360-degree view all the way around.
And it is, you know, truly one of nature's better shows. It's unbelievable.
Wow, really cool. We've got some questions about pricing, but I don't think we can. I think the best answer for that is that, you know, again, back to the service partners. There's many different service packages and different options you can choose from. So we will put our contact details up in a minute, and you can yeah, you can just reach out to them directly. I think that would be the best way to do it. So yeah, I think we'll pretty much wrap up there. Thank you very much. Unless you've got anything else you really wanna add, or Will, anything from you?
Well, just that we're doing another row that you guys are supporting. Hopefully we're getting out there next year. We're doing a world first from Australia to Africa, which is going to take about 100 days. And again, it's amazing to know that this system will be just as successful out there as it has been on the Atlantic. So we're really looking forward to, you know, partnering up with you guys again for that, and being able to send back again really decent content from out in the Indian.
Great, definitely, yeah. And you can, I think we can reach out to you guys on social media, right? So how can people get in touch with you if they want to follow you or look you up on social media?
So it's just Monkey Fist Adventures. Monkey, like a chimpanzee, fist is something you can punch somebody with, and then adventures. And we're on Instagram, I think it's _Monkey Fist, and on Facebook it's just Monkey Fist Adventures. And like I say, we're not, I mean, right now it's all about ocean rowing, but we are trying to encourage people to get out and do whatever it is. It's not just, you know, an adventure doesn't have to be something massive like this. It's, you know, just going out for a walk in your local woods, taking your kids out and doing stuff like that. We're really trying to encourage people to get outside and reconnect with nature.
Yeah, absolutely. No, we'll definitely be following you again. And I mean, I was following you quite closely along the way, and it was pretty awesome to see the things coming back. I mean, we were hoping they were going to be as high quality and as regular as they were, and they really were. So yeah, we definitely look forward to the next one. Cool. Yeah, so thanks again, Billy and Will.
And thank you, and we're so excited to be part of this. Fantastic, thank you.
Yeah, and hopefully we don't have so many, you know, as much of a lockdown as we've had. We've had several, you know, webinars over the course of the last year and a half, I guess, but we'll continue to do this as much as we're not able to travel. So so yeah, thank you everybody, and we'll be in touch with the next webinar.
Fantastic. Thanks very much.
Thanks again.